he's not Pep Guardiola, he's not Jurgen Klopp, he hasn't got that history or that background, so I don't think he should be speaking with that authority in what he is. Getting criticised for not being very good, and we see it, everyone sees it, so you can't hide it. When they haven't been good enough, then what are we meant to do? Like, lie to the public? I think he's more than capable of going into Chelsea and doing a great job. It'd be great to see him get that opportunity, because I think he'd be very good.
When we logged onto this call, I was intrigued as to where Wayne was going to be, what the backdrop was going to be, because Wayne, you're actually still in Barbados, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm actually in my bedroom, so it's hard to get the curtains closed as much. The kids are downstairs. You might hear a bit of shouting from them, but yeah, no, it's been lovely. The weather, the first 2 days weren't great, but it's been good.
That's exactly what we all want to hear, isn't it, Kay, when we're freezing back here in the UK?
It's been -4 over here, so at least someone's enjoying the weather.
Yeah, I hope everyone had a nice Christmas listening to this. Hope you guys did as well. But let's get straight into the football, because there's been a lot going on since we were last with you, but also this weekend as well. Let's start with Manchester United, because Wayne, it's almost like Ruben Amorim knew we were back recording on Sunday night, and he's had a bit to say in his press conference, hasn't he? Of course, Manchester United drew 1-1 at Leeds, and at the end of the press conference, he was asked about the board and if they had confidence in him, and some of his quotes are quite interesting. He said, "I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach. That's clear. I know my name isn't Tuchel, Conte, it's not Mourinho, but I'm the manager, and it's going to be like this for 18 months or when the board decides to change." What did you make of the comments?
It's strange, interesting. I think his choice of words is very, I don't know, decisive, confusing. Because if you're a manager or head coach, I don't know what his title is as a head coach, I think. And I think he speaks with a confidence and a authority that he knows he's going to be there and he's going to remain the manager. And that's the only reason I can assume he speaks with that belief, because the last 2 games have not been very good, and so yeah, I think it's quite confusing. I'm confused with the words he said.
I think that level of confusion can come because obviously it is his second language, so there's always going to be like some things lost in translation, I think, when he's trying to get what he wants out. But I also think that if he's saying he came to this club to become a manager, he should have brought that up when he got signed in the first place, because a lot was made when he first got the appointment that he was going to become Man United's head coach rather than manager. It was like a lot was made of it. And secondly, I think what's happened here is he's been appointed by Omar Barada, and I think ever since Jason Wilcox has come in, Barada's probably given him a set of promises that Wilcox isn't acting on. And I think one of the stipulations was that, I think it was in the last press conference, where they said that they're not going to be buying players based on this system. They're just going to be buying players based on what they think is good for Manchester United, and he wants players for this system. And there was a bit in the other press conference where they were like, "Why is it taking you this long to adapt?" And he didn't want to answer it as well. But I just think he said 18 months. I've got 18 months, and that's when his contract ends. I think he's trying to get himself sacked.
Yeah, no, but I think you need to earn the right. You need to earn the right to be able to dictate exactly what happens at a football club, especially a football club like Man United. And if Guardiola comes into Manchester United, for instance, I don't think anyone would question what players he wants to bring in, or the system. And I just think, for Amorim, and I actually feel for him a little bit, because the squad is not good enough. I said this last week. The squad's not good enough. The players he's got on the bench, young academy kids who it's great to see them on the bench, but are they ready at this moment in time? And it's very difficult to put young players onto a football pitch when the squad, the team, is not very good. And so I feel for him a little bit, but he's not Pep Guardiola, he's not Jurgen Klopp. He hasn't got that history or that background, so I don't think he should be speaking with that authority in what he is. And I just think the words he's saying are very confusing to me.
Well, there was another thing as well where he was saying, like, if you can't handle the Gary Nevilles of this world, then you shouldn't be at this club. And obviously he's talking about, like, you know, pundits influencing people at the club, whether it's the board, the players, or whatever, the staff in general. But it's like there's a very easy way to silence pundits, and that's to win football games.
I could sit here and say, okay, well, Manchester United played very well against Wolves, and they played very, very well against Newcastle. So is that what?
Is that what you think?
But is that what the players want to hear? Is that what the manager wants to hear? And you have to be real. I'm sure. Well, if he's not going in and criticising his players for the performances, then there is something wrong. So we're saying, pundits, as I am now, we're saying what we see, and it's not good enough. It's simple as that. And I do feel for him. I don't think the squad is good enough. I don't think losing the players which they have for the African Cup of Nations, of course, that hasn't helped. But the backup players to that are not good enough. So I just don't understand how he can come out with what he is, because as a Man United fan, you want him to come out and say, listen, I haven't been good enough, the players haven't been good enough, the board haven't been good enough, whatever that is, and just give some honesty.
Do you think that he has a point about the hierarchy listening to noise too much? Do you think that they do?
The people above him, they're his bosses, and I think how he speaks to them should stay between them until Jim Ratcliffe comes out and says, yeah, he's staying here, or we're gonna sack him. But
Jim Ratcliffe told the press he's got three years at the club, and that gave him a lot more time. And obviously, I know people were probably saying he doesn't really mean that, but during the period in which he said it, Amorim's job seemed to be at risk, and people in the media were hammering him, and that sort of subsided for a bit when Ratcliffe came out with those comments. But I just think. I don't necessarily think people at the club are listening to pundits as much, because if they had done, they would have sacked him ages ago. I think this is Ineos's first appointment. It took them. I think the other club that they own in Nice, I think the manager had to lose 9 straight games before they sacked him. They are pinning their hopes on this because it's like the first time they've appointed a manager, so they don't want to lose face.
I think there's a simple way to look at it, and if you sit down with Amorim and say, have you been good enough for Manchester United? And if he gives you an honest answer, then he's going to say no. If you sit down with the players over the last 2-3 years, have you been good enough? They're going to say no. So they're getting criticised for not being very good, and we see it. Everyone sees it, so you can't hide it. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, do you know what? Bruno was brilliant, or and Mbeumo was brilliant. When they haven't been, Bruno's been very good, but when they haven't been good enough, then what are we meant to do? Like, lie to the public?
Absolutely, but that's the thing as well, though. He doesn't help himself. I mean, he does come out in press conferences and say, "Yeah, I'm not doing." He said something in the press conference where he said, "Oh, believe me, outside the pitch, I am doing an amazing job. It's just on the pitch where I'm not doing it." So I don't care what you're doing in the canteen. I don't care what you're doing at Carrington. I care about what's going on the pitch.
People who are connected to the football club, they do care in terms of what happened off the pitch, because Manchester United was always known to be a family club. So I think the people connected do care in what is happening off the pitch, but I don't really see that myself. That it's going great. I think it's getting better to where it has been over the last few years, and certainly on the pitch is not good enough.
The thing that's really intrigued me is why he's done it now. Is it because it's obviously the January transfer window? He also mentioned, or he kind of suggested in his press conference, I think it was on Friday, where he said something about there's not much dialogue, or he didn't say it outright, but he suggested there isn't much dialogue about adding to the squad this month. So do you think it's to try and get more players in?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult job. He's going through a tough moment with the squad, with the team, with results. And you're trying to find a way, you're trying to find answers, you're trying to get more from your owners above to bring and try and help the team. So, as I said, listen, I do feel for him, because we can criticise him all we want, but I just don't think that group of players are good enough.
What do you think, Kay? Do you think, what is he trying to achieve?
Honestly, I think with Ruben Amorim, he's very emotional, and I think when he's going through it, he can't hide it.
But it was the last question in a press conference as well. It wasn't at the beginning. That's also what was interesting, I thought.
No, absolutely, yeah. But and I think if you are trying to leave, go full Conte. Do what Antonio Conte did and just go in a press conference and make
I don't
things
think he's trying to leave. I think it's a pressure which he's feeling, and it's tough. It's difficult. It's a massive football club, and I think we probably forget he's a young man. He's still 40, 41. So he's young. He's still trying to learn and gain that experience as well. So I think just a massive amount of pressure on him, which, when Man United don't win or don't play particularly well, I think he tries to come out and tries to face it, which is fair play to him. But I just don't think his choice of words filled you with confidence when the team is struggling.
I think after the Wolves game, he did lose a lot of hope and confidence from the fans. And I think he's probably felt that as well going into this game at Leeds. And all of that has built up, and he's trying to sort of shift the blame in a way as well. And I think he just made it clear for us. He's like, look, I've got 18 more months. This is it, right? Yeah, I'm not leaving. Nothing's happening, but I'm not getting the players that I want.
Well, I don't think he'll have 18 more months if it carries on. So I think that's fair to say. I actually didn't mind the Leeds performance because I thought there was a lot of fight. There was a lot of Leeds away is a very difficult game, especially going out with Man United, and I actually didn't mind it. It was the two performances before that, the Newcastle one, the Wolves performance. They were way more of a concern to me than the Leeds one.
Do you know what the issue is for me, Wayne? And I don't know if you agree with this. For me, it's sometimes when I see Ruben Amorim managing, especially in like the Wolves game, or there was a few games before that as well. It's just so risk averse. It's just so risk averse. It's like, when a substitution is happening at the 60th minute, it's a centre back.
I don't understand the centre back one, but if I was a centre back playing for him, then you wouldn't be happy. But listen, he does it every game, doesn't he? And I've actually got no answer to give you why.
Yeah, but my point is he's so risk averse. It feels like today when you saw Daniel Farke put on forwards, and they're trying to chase the game. It's like, I know we didn't necessarily have forwards. He brought Xerxes on for Lenny Euro for once, which I was surprised about. But it's like, that's the sort of intent you expect a Manchester United manager to be going into at a football match. If you're down, you put on 4 forwards.
The best managers, they coach and manage throughout the 90 minutes. So we could all sit there and say, like, I'm going to play this system, I'm going to play this player in this position. But actually, the best managers are the ones who can make decisions during the 90 minutes. And that's always been the case, and who can impact the game while it's going on. And I don't think that is happening at the minute. I'm trying to be diplomatic as well. So, but yeah.
Okay, let's try and divert it away from Ruben Amorim, but sticking with Manchester United. What have you made of what's not been going right in recent performances then, Wayne? Because you said you didn't mind Leeds, but the 2 performances before that did concern you a bit.
Yeah, I just felt the Newcastle game, the Wolves game, I felt like I was watching Manchester United play at Old Trafford, like a promoted team, and they're going to Old Trafford to try and get a point. And that's how Man United playing at home, which was very concerning. And I think that's where the squads are. I think we all think of Manchester United and you should be challenging, but they're nowhere near there. The squad's not good enough, and it was just, it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch them sit in against Wolves, and Wolves were passing around Man United's box and they're creating chances and making it difficult for them. And yeah, it was sad. 5
defenders and 2 defensive midfielders at home. Like, I don't care what kind of squad you have, Wayne. Like, that's not acceptable.
No, but listen, if that's the system he keeps telling us about and what we keep seeing, but unfortunately that system is not working. So, and he has tried, but he went to a back 4. He's tried different things, and
but when he did go to the back 4, it looked good.
Yeah, it did, but he went straight back to the back 5. So, listen, I think we're all frustrated, we're all disappointed, we're all upset. as United fans, what's going on. Is it going to change? I don't know. I don't see it.
Wayne, they're still in a race for a Champions League place, though, which maybe is more a reflection on the league. And I don't want to get Kay started on that because I know he'll start saying that none of the teams are playing well. Maybe he's got a point, but they are still in the race for a Champions League place.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think they have dug in games, but I just think we want to see them playing with a bit more flair and a bit more, energy and attacking teams. And I think fair play to probably Cunha and Bumo, and to be fair, they're probably the two best players. Mason Mount has done okay this season as well, but the squad's just not good enough, and they're not going to finish in the top four. I think where Man United are now, they're not going to finish top four. I think that's clear, and they've stuck in there, they're hanging in there, but I don't think that'll stay there for long.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think we're making a Champions League spot just purely because I think the players at the club want to attack, but they're playing with a handbrake on. They're being told to. They're not playing to their strengths as a team. I mean, you look at players like Lisandro Martinez. He's a defender that wants to play on the front foot. He's not a defender that wants to sit on the edge of his box and stay compact.
Yeah, no. I disagree. I just think a lot of the players are not good enough to be competing for the top four. So I know what you're saying. I just don't think a lot of them players are good enough to compete in the top four. And I seen a picture a few days ago when Ten Hag won the FA Cup, and there weren't many players left from that. So there hasn't been a big turnaround of players coming in and players leaving. And I think that's where questions need to be asked as well. So I just don't think they're good enough.
How do you think the Amorim thing now plays out? How do you think the club will respond, or will we just move on? Because it feels like with Manchester United, it's hard to just move on because this is going to rumble on.
Yeah, no, I think they're giving him a lot of power and how we speak. And I think that's a confidence and arrogance, which in a good way for Ruben Amorim, he has, but you need to be able to back it up. It's almost like a young Mourinho when he went into Chelsea, when you speak with that confidence and arrogance, but you have to back it up. And unfortunately, we're not seeing that, so that's when the questions will come. And is it right to change the manager again and start something new? I don't know. It's been happening the last 10 years, and no one seems to get it right.
It's interesting that all this has happened on the same kind of week where Chelsea have parted company with Enzo Maresca. So before we talk about their 1-1 draw at Manchester City, I just wondered what your take was on what's happened at Stamford Bridge, Wayne.
I think it was coming. I think since what was the Everton game when he spoke about not being, or the worst 48 hours, and as a coach, as a manager, you have them days where that happens and you have disagreements with the board, which I'm sure was the case. And I think when he come out and said that, I think everyone's seen what was going to happen to him. But I just think over the last, certainly the season, which we spoke about, I think probably 6 weeks, 2 months ago. The rotation of the squad, there was no consistency in it. And that's why I think Chelsea were getting the results they were getting. They looked amazing. I covered the game against Barcelona and they were incredible. And then you see them in the next game and they look terrible. So I think that was always going to come.
I was going to say it doesn't bode well that he told the club that he was talking to Man City.
Reportedly, yeah.
Yeah, that's never a good sign, is it?
I don't think he probably said that, but I think people are looking at stuff. But I just, you can see things happening. I think his whole demeanour over the last few weeks, and I think everyone could see that was going to happen.
Yeah, Chelsea, Kay, have had 5 managers since the Todd Boehly Clear Lake Consortium took charge in 2022. Is it becoming a really tricky club to manage? Like, it feels like this next appointment is going to be really important.
I think under the previous regime at Chelsea, it worked really well. I think it was a lot. The club was a lot better run than it is now, and I think it takes a certain type of individual to be able to go into that club, and it takes a certain type of manager to go into a certain club where they go, listen, you're not in charge of any sort of signings. You're not allowed to have your say on that. Here's the players that you've been given. Make it work. And I think it doesn't work for a lot of people. I think any manager wants to have their own players. They want their own. They've got their own set of ideas that they want implemented into a team. And if you're just told, here's a bunch of youngsters, make it work, it's not really going to bode well. And I do think with Chelsea, I don't understand what a hierarchy wants. He's got them trophies. He delivered trophies for them. It's like, what do you want? Do you just want somebody to stay quiet and get on with the job that you've given them?
Yeah, well, listen, he's got some fantastic players and has been successful, but I think at the end of the day, you can't question your bosses the way he did. And I think that's ultimately, when you go into a job, what is expected of you and how far you can go, what players you can bring in. You understand that, and I think maybe because he won them trophies, maybe he's tried to push for a bit more and not got the answers he wanted.
Well, at the time of recording, Chelsea don't have a replacement for Enzo Maresca, but someone that you know very well, Wayne, Liam Rosenior, is the overwhelming favourite to take over at Chelsea. He's, of course, currently head coach of Strasbourg, which is kind of part of the same ownership model that own Chelsea too. I just wondered what your thoughts were on what he's like as a person and a coach, because you were with him at Derby.
I think he's more than capable of going into Chelsea and doing a great job. Liam was so important for me, firstly, when I went into Derby as manager, because I'd never coached. I was doing my badges at the time and I'd never coached, and Liam was incredible in his coaching ability. I was more of the manager and dealing with players and everything. So I learnt a lot from him from that point of view. And then I think he's done a great job at Hull. When he went there, just unfortunately missed out on the playoffs, and then he's doing a great job now. And I think he'd be a great fit. And I think young English managers don't really get that chance, and he's gone and he's worked and he's put the work in, and it'd be great to see him get that opportunity, because I think he'd be really good.
What would you say his main strengths are, having worked with him?
Details of coaching and how he works, and his work ethic is incredible. So I don't think there'd be any issue with dealing with top players and from that point of view. But I just think his detail is top, and he deserves it. And I know people might question it. People might think, he's because Liam Rosenior wasn't me as a football player. He had a great career, but never played, at top level to that extent in terms of Champions League. But what he is I think he's a top coach, and hopefully the Premier League gets to see them.
He's also taken some really bold jobs, hasn't he, as well? Like going to Hull and now going abroad to Strasbourg as well. It kind of shows that he seems pretty brave, and he's got a variety of tools that he's probably learned during that time.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's not easy to go anywhere abroad to work and take a job, and he's done that. And for whatever reason, he got sacked from Hull from finishing, I think it was 1 point outside the playoffs, which I thought he'd done a really good job. But yeah, he's taking chances, and hopefully that pays off, because I think Liam is as good a coach, and I'm being truthful on this, I've ever worked with.
Really?
Yeah, no, I think his detail, is how he approaches day to day. He's as good as I've worked with.
Yeah, he's an incredible speaker as well. The way I know we've spoken about Amorim, and you've said before he's very good in press conferences. I know that isn't the whole thing, but the way he speaks and the way he just seems so eloquent as well. And surely that must really help when getting your message across to the players. Yeah,
no, I think but he's also got a side which you don't want to cross him as well, and I think that's important. That's important as well. So no, I think I think if he goes in there, he won't disappoint. He's been waiting, and Liam well. He's been waiting for an opportunity like this, and I'd be so pleased if he gets that job, because he'll have earned it, and he's not just getting given it for any reason. He will have earned it, and I'd be so pleased for him.
I think it would help. It helps him to an extent as well that Strasbourg are managed by the same owners.
Yeah, of course. I think so. There's obviously a relationship there, but if he wasn't good enough, then he wouldn't be looking at him. So Dave's seen.
He knows what he's going into.
Yeah. So he knows what he's going into, and he'll have them relationships. And but I think on the flip side to that is Chelsea will know to the detail what job he's doing and how he's doing it, and that's why they're looking at him.
Is it I'm also loving whatever is going on. Your kids are having the best holiday ever in Barbados, aren't they, Wayne?
I've heard. And they're all crying down the stairs.
It's fine. It's the sign of a good holiday, I think. Although, yeah, I just wanted to point it out in case anyone could hear it when they were listening to this. Just in terms of this move for him, is this the right move for him, do you think? Because you said he's been waiting for an opportunity, but it's a tough and it's a big job. Yeah,
but then if you don't take it now, then you're never going to take it. And I think he's done his apprenticeship. He's done his work to try and get to that job. So he'll have no doubts in his mind that he's capable of doing that job. And hopefully, very soon, hopefully we hear that he is the manager. Because for young English coaches as well, I think it's massive. I think that's massive to, we don't really see English managers at big clubs. So he'd be leading the way for that for us.
Well, I mean, it is great for English managers, but I just think he's the strongest name that's been attributed to the job. But I just think in a wider sense, there's such a lack of good quality managers out there. I think it's a real opportunity for somebody like Liam Rosenior to come and make a name for himself.
He's done everything he can to put himself in the best position, and I don't see an outstanding candidate to go in other than him, to be honest. So just hope. Let's wait and see.
I also wonder, Kay, if he's an English manager. I know it was the same with Will Still, wasn't it? There was a bit of intrigue about him because he was an English manager abroad, young manager. A bit different because we know a bit more about Liam Rosenior because he played kind of for Fulham and stuff in this country. But I think sometimes when they're not here and we haven't seen them the whole way through, we can kind of be a bit like, oh, well, what have they done? But as Wayne said, he's heard firsthand, he's actually done a lot. I know he was at Hull and Derby. But
no, absolutely. No, absolutely. No, but I do think sometimes we don't give English managers the respect even when we do know them. The Championship isn't an easy league to manage. And I think you've seen other clubs take a risk on managers that have done there. I mean, Vincent Kompany's a prime example. Look what he did in the Championship. Bayern Munich took a massive risk in appointing him, and look where they are now.
Yeah, no, but going back to Ruben Amorim, obviously he's done well in Portugal, but we're seeing young foreign managers coming into the English game, and we don't really question. He's a bit young. How can he manage a big club? But then when it's a young English manager, we seem to keep hearing these questions. So I think go and take it, man. Go and lead the way for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? Wish him the very best of luck if he does get that job. I know his dad, Leroy, as well, and he's a brilliant guy too. Just on the subject, I think it's quite topical, isn't it, with Maresca situation, the Amorim quotes tonight as well. There's a lot of talk of how involved ownerships are getting with managers. And Wayne, you've been a manager, you've been a player as well. It seems like it's a tricky balance. Which club at the moment? Are there any clubs at the moment that are getting that balance right?
Everton, I think. I think the new ownership at Everton have come in and they've hired an experienced manager in David Moyes who knows the club, knows how the club, likes to be run. And I really do. I've been a few times, and I think they're getting it. They're getting Everton steady and back to where we feel they need to be. But I always think for any manager, you go into a job, you know what is required, what your boundaries are, how far you can push, and to a certain extent. So I think when a manager comes out and is debating or questioning the ownership publicly, that's you're never going to win. These owning football clubs, it's their club. So managers know what they're getting themselves into, and there's probably a line you shouldn't cross.
Look, the thing is, with the amount of money coming into the sport, it's only going to get worse. I think owners aren't buying football clubs because they're diehard fans of the club. I mean, in certain instances, maybe that's the case. But do you think Todd Bowley managed took over at Chelsea because he thought Dan Petrescu and those guys will give him great memories. Dennis Wise and them, like, no, they're getting into it for money. And I think the more money is involved, you're going to see a lot more overreach from the owners. There's an increasing Americanization of these sports. And I think you look at sports like the NFL, the owners are everything. They get onto the pitch when the trophy's being handed out at the end of the season. The captain doesn't take it. It's the owner that takes it. And I think with the amount of money that's coming into the Premier League, this is only going to get worse and worse. You're going to get to a stage where I think head coaches aren't going to be given any sort of powers bar coaching the team.
Yeah, it's all a lot now. It's all based on data, and so when you're scouting players, you're looking at players. It's you have to go through a process of all the data and how he looks on a computer screen rather than in real life, and I think that's the reality, and that's where it is, and that's what owners are looking at in the long run. Does if we look at this data works, and that's what they're looking at, and some clubs have done it really well, some not so well, but I think the days of managers and coaches getting on a plane and going to look at players and come back to the owner saying, right, I really like this player, I want to sign this player, then I think they're gone.
Well, life post-Maresca for Chelsea didn't get off to too bad a start, did it? A 1-1 draw at the Etihad. They'd have probably taken that given the way the game was going. Enzo Fernandez with a really late equaliser up in Manchester. As a result, it means that the title race is Arsenal atop, 48 points from 20 games. City and Aston Villa are second and third. They've got 42 points from 20 matches. Where does this leave it, Wayne?
For two teams, I think City and Arsenal will fight out the league title. And Villa fans, I said on Match of the Day, Villa fans had a go at me for saying they're on the title race, then I don't think they are. I think it's between City and Arsenal, and I think Arsenal will have too much, but I'm really interested to see what happens towards the end of the season if City are still within this distance of them.
Yeah, I think it's Arsenal's to lose, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
City just had so many chances against Chelsea, and it just felt like in the past they would have taken those chances. I don't know. Yeah,
you have difficult games, and sometimes you can dominate a game and not win. And when you lose, like for Chelsea, when you lose a manager, there does seem to be a togetherness which comes, and Chelsea dug in and got the result in the end, and great result for them. But I think City will, they'll be there at the end of the season, as much as it pains me to say. I think they will be right on Arsenal's tail, and if Arsenal slip up, I think they will potentially try and take over, but it's them two for me.
Just as an off topic, look, quickly, can I just say quickly as well how much I think Reece James has been doing well this season. He's been playing in midfield at some instances, and he's been absolutely incredible. And I hope he stays fit for the World Cup, because it doesn't look like Trent Alexander-Arnold's getting on that plane. But yeah, I think I've got really high hopes for Reece James at the World Cup.
Yeah, what a play. He was brilliant today as well. Okay, then that's where we'll leave it, Wayne. You can get back to your holiday now. Have you still got a few more days in the sun?
Yeah, a few more, yeah. So I'm just going to have to go and deal with these kids downstairs now.
Are you back in time, though, to see Macclesfield Crystal Palace? Because your brother is, of course, Macclesfield manager.
Yeah, I'm doing the game for BBC, yeah. So I'll be there, side the pitch.
That's a brilliant tie for them, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. I think Man United were the next number out. So
really? Oh, that'd have been
like 4 or 6 teams left. So, but no, great tie for Macclesfield, and they're doing great. So it'd be really good to be there and obviously support my brother and hope they can win and get in the 4th round.
Whatever you do, get your thermals out, because trust me, it's cold, but it's going to feel even colder coming from Barbados to this. Look, it is freezing over here. We'll leave it there. We're going to be back on Friday with a special Q&A episode, and a reminder that you can watch The Wayne Rooney Show on the BBC Sport YouTube and BBC iPlayer, or listen on BBC Sounds.